My name is Karanbir Singh Sarkaria, and today is 16th August 2030. I was 38 years old. I was teaching mathematics in New York City. It's possible somebody called me, but my main information came from the newspaper, the New York Times. Disbelief, incredulity. I think that was the reaction of almost everyone. Then we were in the Washington DC area. Again, mostly I think it was the Washington Post which informed me about things. It was this time, unlike June 1984 when the Punjab was cut off to all press and there was complete martial law and curfew whatsoever. Here it was out on the streets in Delhi, and the Washington Post had graphic pictures of all sorts of atrocities, like pictures from the Delhi railway station, on the roads in Delhi, and it was blood-curdling, all that reportage. Luckily, no. Of course, but I would say not as much as probably other people did, because I was mostly into my research and was not living in an area where there were lots of Sikhs either. Like in June 1984, we were living in a high-rise apartment building in Queens, and though there were a number of families with the Indian connection, most of them I remember were from other states, and some had come to the US via Africa. But I do remember, though all these families were non-Sikh, almost all Hindu, I think, that the same disbelief and incredulity was the common reaction of everyone. In the Indian context, attack on the holy place, the most holy place of religion, any religion whatsoever, till that date was an absolutely unheard of thing. And in fact, I think something which somebody related a little bit later perhaps sums up the thing. The person said that some telephone lines in Chandigarh had been crossed and she was unable to make a telephone call, but when she picked it up a couple of days after Darbar Sahib was attacked, she heard a conversation between two Hindu shopkeepers, and the one was telling to the other in amazed terms that Darbar Sahib te hamla ho gaya. And this other, absolutely flabbergasted, said, "Ye te Nader Shahi ho gayi na." So one has to go back all the way till Nader Shah, or more accurately, Shah Abdali, to find a previous example of the Darbar Sahib being attacked. And I do remember that even though their correspondent was sitting in Delhi and was cut off and couldn't go into the Punjab, which was totally isolated, the New York Times had a memorable line in one of their reports. They immediately thought back to 1919 and said that hundreds of Sikhs had been killed very close to the Darbar Sahib, to the Golden Temple, as they write in the English press. But that then it was the British, the foreign rulers of India, who had massacred these hundreds. And now the New York Times said, so many years later, it is the Indian government's own army which is doing practically the same thing very near to that scene of 1919. I think every Sikh changed after 1984, every. And I think saying that, for example, even Khashwant Singh and Amrinder Singh resigned their seats in the parliament almost immediately after the Golden Temple attack, I think speaks volume. I think the most thick skin of exchange, and so these events, and of course everything which subsequently followed as a result of these, they have changed our community totally. These were watersheds in Sikh. One small minuscule member of this community, but I do think all of us, doesn't matter of what ideological feeling, etc., we all carry 1954 in us. I am not a believer in making all sorts of political judgments, and frankly I don't like politicians as a whole class, and I think it is very unwise for anyone to forget that right saying that they are all scoundrels. They really are, all of them. The biggest netas, the most. So, and very wild calculations come into this, and all this violence, subsequent violence elsewhere in India, etc., comes because of these intrigues and so on of this very low class of people, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. But the sensible people of the world, I think they should start looking things at the right context, ignore these netas, etc., and memorialize the innocents who get killed. I think it's a great pity that there is no memorial for the thousands of men, women and children who were killed in Amritsar in June 1984 and then later in November 1984. We definitely don't need any memorials, any more memorials, at least to these rascals, but we do need memorials for all these people. And I think the more we remember them, the more we remember the horror of these things, a little less likely it becomes that something like this will happen. But unfortunately, things are continuing the same way as before. The so-called netas, etc., are hogging the limelight, and they are the ones with samadhis, etc., built to them, and the common innocents which get murdered because of their ambitions, etc., they are not remembered. Even, now today is August 16th. Do we remember on August 15 the great horror of 1947? No. As far as I know, there is no memorial. In fact, nobody even tries to put a sensible figure on how many. They say 250,000 to 2 million killed then. And in every year after that partition, practically every year, India has seen this kind of violence, and thousands of innocents have been killed. And I definitely think that it's those innocents which need samadhis, memorials, memorializing, not in empty phrases, but really with their names put down and remembered, preferably on the very spot at which these brutal murders in Delhi and in Amritsar took place. But as I said, there is no sign of anything positive like this happening right now.